The following video contains swearing and violent imagery. Viewer discretion is advised.
Zombies. We all know him, we all love him. Or at least I think we do. There were a lot of zombie movies and games in the late 2000s and early 10s, and then everybody went, ugh, zombies, I never thought they were cool. It reminded me when Encanto was released and it talked about generational trauma, and then Turning Red was released and also talked about generational trauma, and a bunch of people were like, ugh, Disney these days, always talking about generational trauma. And I was like, god damn dude, there can be more of one thing. What was I talking about? Ah yeah, zombies. But alas, I'm one of the few that still find zombies scary. Maybe it's because I have OCD and topics surrounding illness and contamination make me uneasy. Also they kill you or something, I don't know. So I thought, you know what would be fun? If I took a look at a bunch of zombies in fiction and examined how much chaos they would cause if they were placed one day on Earth. First, a few things to note. Firstly, I am a fraud. As much as I'd like to be thorough, I simply do not have the time to watch all these movies, series and games. So I have based my information on prior knowledge of the few things I do know and stuff I have found throughout the internet. It's inevitable that I will get some things wrong, so please, correct me in the comment. Also, another quick thing, I was going to include the Flood from Halo and the Necromorphs from Dead Space. I don't know how else to explain this in the scale of zombies to weird disgusting alien thing. Those fall more towards the latter. So, sorry. With that said, let's begin. The cordyceps virus from The Last of Us cannot exist in real life. Yeah, I know it's a cop-out. I don't care. Neil Druckmann is a Zionist piece of shit and I don't like him. As a superior writer, he's not worthy of my time. Up first, we have the zombies from the Wii Party minigame, Zombie Tag. For being the first on the list, they have something very special. Easily the fastest infection rate out of any zombie on here. They touched you, even your clothes, bam, one of them. But what's keeping them so low on the list is that when it turns to day, they're all back to normal humans. If they appear in a crowded area, they could get a big chain reaction going of people being turned. But as soon as the sun shows up, all that very little effort goes down the drain. The zombies from Minecraft are very similar to the previous, in the sense that when the sun shows up, they will all catch on fire. They have a few advantages. There are some variants that evolve to resist sunlight and may appear with weapons, but the chances of this are low. And even then, they are painfully slow. The little ones are much faster, but if we work with a real life setting instead of a game one, I don't see why you couldn't kick those little suckers. Also not helping their case is that they need to kill you to infect you, so you can survive getting into a scuffle with them. Romero zombies, the one that started it all. Well, zombies originate from Haitian folklore, where they are corpses reanimated by magicians, and mentions of malevolent living dead date as far back as the Epic of Gilgamesh, but this movie has introduced what most audiences would consider a zombie. And the reason we can all use zombies today is that they forgot to put a copyright notice in the title card. With that said, these guys are bums. I mean just painfully slow. If there were 100 of these guys in front of me, I would just walk in the opposite direction. You know who gets rid of them in the first movie? A bunch of dudes with guns. That's not the military, that's the grilling club. So, the Cootie Kids eat some non-FDA compliant chicken nuggets and become the standard angry bastard. What is noteworthy about them is that the infection can only affect those who haven't reached puberty, so while they can still kill an adult, they could survive being bitten. So, what I think would happen is that like, you're at home, you're watching TV, and suddenly the feed cuts out, and there's a live message from the president, and it's like, we are under attack by a strange and powerful threat, and we need your help. If you see an angry child in your vicinity, just beat the ever-loving shit out of it. People would be lauded as heroes for killing children. they'd make statues of them hitting the easiest 1v10 imaginable. Then decades later, veterans would recount to their grandchildren, well, there were many nights when we laid awake at night, haunted by what we have done. But if it meant the world was saved, I guess it was worth it. Corporal Jason beat a whole pack of them with a puppet. The walkers from The Walking Dead are kinda the platonic ideal of a zombie. Slow, squishy, dumb as rocks, with their greatest strengths being that they can show up in big numbers. But if they were placed in a world that is aware of the concept of a zombie, I don't think they'd last too long. I also heard that there was a variant that retained a bit of their previous intelligence, but that's a trope that I have trouble buying all the time because when a bullet flying at 120 meters per second makes contact with your head, a number of things happen, and none of those things include filling out an SAT. The Resident Evil zombies are also pretty standard, but I'm putting them above the walkers since they have the nasty tendency to appear to have died only to jump at you when you least suspect. I'm also including the Plagas infected from 4 and 5, which are ancient parasites that infect humans and leave them smart enough to form societies of their own. They can also use tools and weapons. Some use metal claws, some use chainsaws, some can use firearms, and if all else fails, they can go fuck it and spawn a big evil tentacle from their head. The zombies from Plants vs Zombies are, by design, pretty silly. They're all pretty slow and weak and don't turn others into zombies. Also, I'm only talking about the ones from the first game because holy shit, man. There are two zombies that are a really big issue though. There's the Gargantuar, a gigantic zombie that wields objects like power lines for weapons, and while it can be killed, it would surely cause a lot of damage before it goes down. And the leader of the zombies, Dr. Zomboss, who pilots a giant mech. Thankfully, his head is exposed, so he is very vulnerable. Hopefully someone gets him before he throws a camper van at them, because I genuinely believe that this is 100% unsurvivable. Look at that! The Crossed, from the titular comic book, are people that get cross-shaped rashes on their faces and start indulging in their worst impulses. So they go around murdering people, eating people, having non-consensual sex with people. I mean, just look up on Google list of things that are not good and you get the gist. From what I gather, they are so obsessed with their decadence that they will abandon all common sense and self-preservation. So it would be hilariously easy to lure them with a bug saying free non-specific cruel action and then perform a feature-length coyote and roadrunner routine. I put them above the Plagas because they are closer to humans, so the element of decomposition is impressive, but that doesn't give them that big of an advantage because when you break it down, they're just assholes. I think humanity can come together to get rid of a bunch of assholes. It would be even easier if there was some sort of visual signifier that would differentiate the assholes from the non-assholes. Also, there's like special cross that retain some human sanity and manipulate humans, but I think that you could weed them out of your group. Hey man, I was wondering, just out of curiosity, what is your favorite food? Man, definitely not babies. Babies? Hell no, I don't eat babies. It is not my favorite food. So what is it then? Apple? It's him, guys! It's him! What, we all hate apples now? Okay, so the Half-Life zombies are kinda odd because they only become zombies when they are possessed by headcrabs. So for the sake of this scenario, let's assume that headcrabs exist too. The most common zombies are pretty slow, but the other two are much nastier. The fast zombies are much quicker and more agile, and the poison zombies throw poison headcrabs, which bring the player's health to 1, which then slowly regenerates. I don't know how that would function in a realistic setting. It probably hurts. I think the zombies themselves would be more manageable than the actual headcrabs. Remember, they were used as biological weapons in universe, and while each individual headcrab is weak, they could cause a disaster if deployed en masse. I'm not including the zombies because those need a combine soldier to exist, which would need a combine to exist in this scenario, and at that point there's a much bigger issue at hand. The flood from the Doctor Who episode, The Waters of Mars, is a virus hidden in the water in Martian glaciers that was unleashed when a human settlement stumbled upon it in the future. It's highly infectious. Only one drop of this stuff and you become some sort of water zombie. They can run fast, shoot water out of their hands, so what in the hell can be used against these things? Well, in the episode, a nuclear weapon got used to kill them all. So in a roundabout way, you can just boil them. But another weakness of theirs is filters. Yeah, I'm not kidding. The reason why the disaster happened in the first place is because one of the crew's filtration systems broke. Before that, the crew had no problem with the water, even managing to grow a garden. So I'm going to get my hopes up and say that the flood can be dealt with any filtration or purification methods. Perhaps a chemical can be developed that could kill the parasite outright. The conversationalists from the movie Pontypool, side note that's an awesome fucking name, are what happens to people after getting infected by a virus that rather than physiologically transmits itself verbally. The virus triggers when certain words are said, which progressively will cause the subject to lose their grasp on language, either repeating the last thing they heard or spewing gibberish until they snap and start attacking other people. First things first, this is one of the scariest concepts I ever heard in my life. Curse you talented writers for developing such a unique and interesting idea. But secondly, this virus has a lot of countermeasures. The trigger words given in the films are terms of endearment, baby talk, and the entire English language. The first two are easy enough to circumvent, that's what synonyms or slang are for, but you'd assume that everybody who only speaks English is screwed. But not exactly. What triggers the infection is the understanding of the words. In the film, one character manages to save another by convincing them that kill does not mean kill, but rather kill is kiss. But it's not hard to imagine an English-derived language that uses the same words but with different meanings, and that being immune to the infection. As I said earlier, that's what synonyms and slang are for. Also, the zombies are like regular human level strong. The Night King is a character from Game of Thrones that got turned into some sort of ice zombie that controls an army of other ice zombies called White Walkers, who then can revive people into soldiers called Whites. So, are these guys powerful? Hell yeah, they are all skilled warriors that never tire out and always bring a great cold wherever they go, and that's dangerous. Imagine you slip in the middle of a battle, that's just embarrassing. Unlike most zombies that can only turn others they infect, any corpse they come across gets added to their ranks, even animal corpses. Thankfully, there are always weaknesses. The Whites are the cannon fodder and are extremely flammable, but the rest are rather tough. The only way to defeat a White Walker is through a material called dragon glass, which is equivalent to obsidian. The hardest thing about all this would be figuring this out. I imagine that after seeing them being vulnerable to everything, scientists would capture a walker and stab him with every possible material until something works. But something to note is that when a walker dies, all the people they resurrected die as well. And if the Night King dies, the whole army goes out with him. And you might think that reaching him to stab the guy would be way too difficult, and you'd be right, but that isn't necessary. Imagine a warplane flying overhead, but instead of dropping bombs, it drops thousands of little pieces of sharpened obsidian, and there's nothing those whiteys can do about it. Winter is cancelled, motherfuckers! Well, if it isn't the infected from the hit movie franchise 28 units of time later. Also, I'm not going to be including information about the new movie that just came out because it just came out and there's not a lot of stuff about it online, so yeah. These zombies are fueled by one thing and one thing only: rage. These zombies will stop at nothing until they turn you into one of them or you die. They do not tire out, they are smart enough to select optimal paths to chase people, and they feel no pain. to the point where you can set one on fire and it won't give a shit. Also, the infection rate is absurd. One drop of their blood in your body and you are done for. Thankfully, there are a couple of downsides. They cannot swim, which has led to the infection being contained to Great Britain. Immune people can exist, although they can still infect people. And since they are only concerned with killing people, they don't take care of themselves. So you can effectively wait for them to starve in like 1 or 2 months. But good fucking luck doing that. The green flu infected from Left 4 Dead. Downsides? They are weak to melee weapons and get their heads stepped on. Upsides? Well, while the rage infected can use what's left of their human intelligence to try to gauge the best way to approach their enemies, the green flu infected go, calculate the best path to go. Fuck that, I'm just going to go. I'm going to climb fences, I'm going to break through metal doors, I'm going to fall hundreds of feet into the ground unscathed because I heard a noise, and that noise is going to fucking die! Thankfully, that is the only type of zombie. Introducing the special infected, rare mutations of the virus here to kick your ass! The boomer will spew stuff on you that attracts zombies to your location. The charger will ram you and then beat you down to the ground. The hunter will jump across buildings to bounce on you and claw your face out. The jockey will grab your head and move you around so that the other zombies can take a grab at you like you're a bowl of potato chips at a kid's birthday party. The smoker will throw its tongue to snare and strangle you. The spear spits acid at you. The witch will put you down if you look at her funny. And the tank is strong enough to knock cars around with the same ease as one would kick an empty soda can across the sidewalk. Even if you are immune to the infection, you are not immune to vehicular manslaughter. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm very happy to have made a video again. I have been very busy with university, so truly, thanks for sticking around. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta go back to my cave.
I mean, no one's gonna eat your eyes.